Well, hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Almost the weekend. I'm guessing that here in the States, to a large extent, it's going to be a very long weekend because Christmas is on a Tuesday this year. So probably people are off on the weekend, won't go back to work on Monday. So hope everybody's been good so far this year because, you know, Santa will see if you're good, but you're going to have to deal with Krampus if you're not good, and you don't want to deal with Krampus. Being a little silly. Anyway, today I want to talk about my opinion, thoughts on raw food diet recipes. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you go down and hit that subscribe button now. Then click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. Also, too, public service announcement. It's already out. I thought they'd at least have no shame enough to wait until after Christmas. I'm already seeing programs and challenges out for 2019. More things for you to pull money out for. Listen, I got a whole playlist of transition videos. I got a whole playlist of how to start a raw food diet. I got a whole playlist of what I eat in a day. Listen, I'm never going to put it out, and I don't have the time to sit down and tell you every little detail, but you don't need a damn program. You don't need a challenge. And I'll tell you what, this ain't what I said, just ain't going to make any difference. But if there's a way to search, go back to last year. See what was being offered in 2018 as the great challenge. Or we can wait till next year. Let's all keep a note of these challenges that come out. And they'll be different. Like, we all have different networks, things we see. There'll be a lot of them. And let's keep track of them, and let's go back and check next year. And let's see how many success stories came out of them. Like Yoda, you either do or you don't do. I mean, there is no try. But you don't need to do that. Enough said about that. All right, on to the recipes, my thoughts, my philosophy, my opinion on recipes. Not that my opinion is any more important than anybody else's, it just kind of works for me. I talk about recipes and I talk about developing recipes, and it's a very slow process for me. And I would like to do a book, and I actually sat down and started, making some notes of certain things I would like to see, but in the end, I'm not a foodie. I'm not a foodie. I don't want to be a foodie. I don't have any desire to be a foodie. And it's hard for me, and with my philosophy, what it is, it's hard for me to think outside my experience and just create recipes so I can make a book or whatever, because that's why I'm not afraid to use a little fat. I know it sounds contradictory sometime when I'm talking about fat in some videos, and then I'll do a recipe video and there's a fair amount of fat in there. It's because to me, and just to me, recipes are kind of not every day. They're kind of special occasion. Now, okay, there are some healthy recipes out there, but I guess it's just recipes in general. My idea of fun is not sitting in a damn kitchen and chopping and cutting and preparing all day. I mean, I'm active. Maybe 20 years, 25 years from now when I'm 75 or 80, maybe I'll switch over the vibe and I'll just be in the kitchen cutting all the time. But I ain't got no patience for that. Like I say, most of my diet boils back to laziness. I was talking with somebody yesterday and I'm like, yeah, I get that. I have aspirations during the day to do something great for dinner or make a new recipe. And then I get over late afternoon and I'm like, let's just make some nice cream. So yeah, the recipes are, in my opinion, like I say, just, they're just kind of special occasion. They're I don't want to say every once in a while, because you could have them once a week, but you don't need, do you really need that much variety? Do you need a repertoire of, 25 or 30 recipes so you can have something every night over the course of, say, a month? I don't think so. I don't think so. So, that's why it's kind of tough for me to do a recipe book. I mean, I'll say I'm going to do it. People encourage me to do it. They ask me about this recipe. They ask me about that. But in the end, my channel, my brand, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. It's kind of like a window into what I'm doing. I don't like to script it. I don't like to just, do things, make things up you know, for something like that, just to have a recipe book. Now it'll happen, it'll eventually happen, and it may happen sometime in 2019, that just by my thoughts coming together and finally, you know, I've developed enough recipes to where I'm like, okay, now I think we might can do a book. Not going to do it. Because let me go back to that fact and go a little deeper into that. I'm not a foodie. You know why I'm not a foodie? And this could be said for the standard American diet world. This could be said for the raw food diet world. I have friends in the restaurant business. I have friends that own restaurants. God bless them, and they're not eating like us. You know, a lot of them are, you know, kind of try to do the thing. They think they're eating a little healthier, like the, you know, skin off this bird or whatever. But anyway, foodies are not, here's another motivation for you. Before you start just jumping in recipe, you know that person. You just go ahead. Don't say anything. You've got a mental image in your mind. That person in one of your groups or in your network that you can't post a photo of one piece of food without them chirping one word: recipe. Foodies aren't lean. It's kind of like you got to pick a lane and decide what you want to do. If you're going to be a recipe person, if you're going to be a foodie, if you're going to be a raw vegan foodie with all these kind of really spectacular, and you're eating like that every night, you ain't going to be lean. Pick one or the other. Foodies ain't going to be lean. Or by my definition of a foodie. Now there's certain recipes that I wouldn't even, that they don't fall into recipes, you know, even though I put it out as a recipe, like my mango red pepper dressing and a few other things I have. I know I'm kind of splitting hairs, but I don't kind of count those type of recipes in with the foodies. You know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about foodies. These real delicacies, these things that are very, very tasty, these things that are just give you the fucking wow factor to the 100th power. And they're good. And don't be mistaken. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of these recipes, and singled out any of these recipes. But it's not how you need to be living your life. In my opinion, it's not, you don't need to be eating these gourmet, raw foodie, trying to just stimulate that palate, you know, 7 days a week. So that's why it's always going to be a little, I mean, you know, I think probably I'll squeeze out, I was thinking about this yesterday when I went to Pensacola and was sitting in the car so much, I was like, you know, at some point, whether it's this year or whatever, I will squeeze out a recipe book, because eventually my recipes are going to accumulate. I'm going to say, okay, now I got a base that I want to go from. But I don't know, unless something drastic happens in my life with my whole thoughts on this channel, I don't see doing, you know, many recipe books. Maybe I got one in me. Maybe I got two in me. But and who knows? Who knows? That could all change tomorrow. Maybe somebody invites me to their house to take care of them and make food for them, and they have a spectacular kitchen. I could do that. Or maybe somebody wants me to house sit for them at some point. I could do that. But for me, it's just so simple. Listen, I wouldn't even be hardly thinking about talking about doing anything about raw food, raw vegan, any of that stuff, if I didn't have a channel, if I didn't do social media, because I wouldn't need to. I don't ask a lot of questions. You know, I go look for specific things because I've been doing this long enough now to know how to do it. But yeah, I do things my way. It's somehow, a lot of times I don't think I am relatable. I know that. I don't think maybe it translates to a lot of people because I'm just a little bit touched in the head. People are like, I think I get a lot of the that vibe. Everybody's got that kind of old uncle that's a little bit doddering and he's a little bit out there, but everybody kind of, you love him. I hope you love me, but I'm kind of like that. You know, I'm just kind of bumbling through life with this fruit and sunshine and whatever I can get, and just feeling happier and better every day. That's what it's always been for me. This raw stuff ain't serious to me. Listen, I was a drunk 8 years ago. I was a drunk for 30 years. I'm just happy as hell that I wake up feeling spectacular every day. I ain't got no time to get into, you know, a bunch of always fooling with food and learning a new recipe and doing all the complicated stuff. I had to fit it in just like I lived my life even before, and that's what I did before. I was thinking when I made my nice cream last night, I'm like, much healthier food, much better choices now, but I don't really eat differently than I did my whole life. I was always very, I would get on kicks of like, I'd have 2 or 3 things, or sometimes I'd have one thing I like, and I would eat it over and over and over and over and over and over. The point being, and this will be, I'll wrap it up here, the point being is when I ate cooked food, when I ate the standard American diet, I didn't have this huge repertoire of recipes, so why do you need it on raw? You know, why do you need it on raw? I probably cycled the same 3, 4, 5 things over and over and over. Sometimes eating the same thing every day for 3 or 4 days. Just like I do here. Jack, why do you eat so many bananas? I'm like, well, that's just what I've always done. Just kind of utilitarian and make it as easy as possible. But anyhow, like I say, to each their own. You know, nothing wrong with good food. I like recipes, but the recipes ain't gonna get you there. You just have to decide when you're going to do it. Everybody kind of thinks there's going to all be some one little trick that's going to come into their arsenal, and it's going to all of a sudden be like, ah, all of a sudden I'm doing raw now. Ain't going to happen. It's just doing it, eating good food, plant-based food, whole plant-based food, day after day after day after day. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you tomorrow, and be good. I don't want to see any of y'all disappear with Krampus. Peace.